Guys, here we have the World Cup final, guys. The World Cup final. So, welcome back to the 80s Super 4 channel. Today, we'll be giving you guys this World Cup final preview. We'll go over everything related to the game. We'll talk about the form heading of the two teams heading up into the final. Then we'll obviously talk about tactics and all that good stuff, manager selection, goals as well, and a lot to break down. So, if you're new around here, considering that like button, hit the subscribe button down below as well. There will be timestamps in the description below for your convenience. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and talk about how Argentina made the World Cup final. So heading into the World Cup, Argentina were regarded as one of the favorites to lift the trophy. With Messi in your team, you always have a chance, right? They were in pot. They were in pot one. They were grouped in Group C with Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and Poland, and things got off the worst possible way by them losing to Saudi Arabia on the opening match day of the World Cup. There was a lot of concern that Argentina would struggle after that defeat. They followed up with the win against Mexico. That was a crucial win that keeps them alive in qualification, because had they had lost that game, they pretty much would have been eliminated. And then they followed it up with the win against Poland, in which Messi even missed a penalty. Then in the round of 16, they played against Australia, that surprised everyone by getting second place in the group, upsetting Denmark and beating them on the final match day. And they beat Australia 2-1, which really should have been more if Lautaro Martinez could have finished his chances right at the end. And then in the quarterfinals, they played against a Dutch team that were pretty, they came off a huge win against the USA, in which they played really well. And, they managed to crawl their way back from a 2-0 deficit to actually make it 2-2. And Argentina then went on to win on penalties, with Van Dijk and Bergwijn missing their penalties. And actually, I think it was Berghuis, actually. And then in the semifinal, they played against Croatia team that's upset Brazil, won 3-0, and now are in the World Cup final yet again. And Lionel Messi has the chance to finally make himself the GOAT, as many would say. As for France, they also start off the World Cup campaign in relatively unknown fashion. A lot of people were very skeptical of France, how they would do in the World Cup, mainly because of the Champions Curse. And there were a lot of dressing room issues leading up to the World Cup, obviously with the whole Mbappe, Giroud, and Benzema thing. And with the amount of injuries France have, it almost seemed inevitable that they would flop in this World Cup. They came out of Group D, and they managed to top the group with 6 points. They managed to beat Denmark, and they managed to beat Australia. They did lose to Tunisia on the final match day. Not that really matters. And then in the round of 16, they played against a Poland team, won 3-1, killing Mbappe, scoring a brace. And then in the quarterfinals, they played against an England team that played really well. And then in the semifinal, they shut down the Moroccan dream and won 2-0. So coming into this, you can see that both teams had to waltz their way through the group, and they had to they topped the group in relative fashion, and they were able to come alive in the knockout stage and beat the team that they should beat. Okay. Now let's talk about the head-to-head record, because the head-to-head record is actually really interesting. There's been a lot of meetings of France and Argentina. So head-to-head record, okay. So the head-to-head record between the two teams is as follows. So Argentina have won 6 games against France, and draw has happened 3 times, and France have won 3 games. Now, keep in mind, the last meeting came in the 2018 World Cup, where France won 4-3, and the round of 16, with obviously we know who scored the brace. It was Kylian Mbappe that scored a brace, and obviously Pavard scored that stunner, and then obviously I believe the Griezmann scored the opening goal, and then for Argentina, I think Messi scored. Actually, Messi didn't score. I think one of their center backs scored. Then I think Di Maria scored, and then Aguero scored as well. Messi got 2 assists in that game. So, Argentina and France, they played against each other quite often in the World Cup, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in this meeting in particular. Okay, injured players. These are the players that are injured as of currently today. This is being recorded on Thursday, so obviously, maybe by Saturday, you will see who is available. But as of right now, these are the players that are currently injured. So, Alejandro Papu Gomez is out for this game. He's likely to be out, and Rabiot is likely to miss the final. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the lineups. Let's go ahead and look at lineups. So let's go ahead and look at this lineup from Argentina. So this is the lineup they played against Croatia, and let me go ahead and move my webcam so you guys can see the full picture. So as you guys can see, they had started Emiliano Martinez. Emi Martinez, obviously he's going to start the World Cup final, no doubt whatsoever. Molina is going to start at the right back position. It's pretty much undisputed in my opinion. Romero Otamendi will obviously start at the center back. I don't think Lissandro will start this game. And then Tagliafico is going to be the left back. Now, remember, Acuna and Montiel will be back. And I honestly think Tagliafico should start that final just because of how good he was against Croatia. And I feel like Tagliafico is a better player than Acuna. I do think Acuna is a bit more adventurous going forward, but I do feel as though Tagliafico is a bit more disciplined, and especially in a final, you really want the discipline, right? And I feel like Tagliafico is just more well assured at the fullback position than Acuna, and we know Acuna is a player that can easily lose his temper, right? So I wouldn't really start Acuna in this kind of game. If I was Scaloni, obviously I'm not sure of what he's going to do, but if I was Scaloni, I would start Tagliafico. And then obviously I think Molina should start the right back because I thought he was good on the day against Croatia, even though he didn't get a goal nor assist. Rodrigo De Paul will obviously start at the wing position as a right midfielder. It'll be interesting to see, though, if Di Maria will finally start because he's not really been starting. But I would really think Di Maria should start. Paredes, Enzo Fernandez, obviously they have a good partnership in the midfield. I think that midfield's fine. McAllister has also been really good. And so if any of the four is going to get dropped, I think we should drop DePaul just because I feel like Di Maria can give you the extra quality in the final third. And I really do feel Argentina really needs Di Maria in this kind of game, especially this being a World Cup final. And we know Di Maria scored in that Copa America final. And obviously, Lionel Messi and Julian Alvarez are obviously going to be the partnership at the front. I don't think there's any debate whatsoever on that position in particular. And I think Argentina will play the 4-4-2 to counter France, of course. Now, for France in particular, let's look at the France lineup. So, let's look at the France lineup. This is the France lineup that they played against Morocco. They started Hugo Lloris in goal. They started Jules Koundé at the right back position. Center backs with Varane and Konate. I think Konate did a really good job. I actually think he's better than Upamecano, so I think Upamecano, if he's available, I would actually start Konate in this game. Theo Hernandez, obviously, he's going to start. Tuchemi and Fofana. Yusuf Fofana, I don't think he's really that good, so I'm not sure. I think France really needs to hope Rabiot is back for this game because I don't think Fofana is really that good. Dembele, Griezmann, Mbappe, and then Giroud, of course. So I think for the France team, I think it's pretty much the lineup is pretty much going to be the same. It'll be interesting to see, though, if Rabiot can start in the midfield, though. And, yeah. So before we get on to this, I think the big decision for both teams here is who's going to be the better supporting cast. I think because this final for me is really about Messi versus Mbappe. Who's going to be the better supporting cast? Because I'm looking at players like Griezmann, Dembele, and Giroud for France. Those are supporting cast. And for Argentina, you have Julian Alvarez and Di Maria. I know Lautaro is also there too, but I just don't really think Lautaro is that clinical, really that guy. And I just think that Argentina are really going to need those kind of players. I think whichever supporting cast comes up triumph on the day will win this. I think this will be a very low-scoring game, very tactical battle as well, and so forth. So now let's go ahead and look at the combined 11. So I did a combined 11 for fun, guys, and this is the combined 11 I came up with. So I want you guys to comment down below if you agree with my 11. I'll give a prediction. The prediction will be after this, okay? So let's go ahead and look at this. So for manager, I decided to pick Deschamps. I think Deschamps is the better manager. He's taken his nation to 2 World Cup finals. I think that's very commendable, even with all the criticism. So I think you have to give him credit for that. And obviously, France have made 4 of the 7 World Cup finals, which is pretty insane. Of the last 7 finals, France have taken part in 4 of those finals. That is remarkable, okay? And so forth. Anyways, Emi Martinez for me is goalkeeper. I just think that Emi Martinez is a really good goalkeeper, especially when it comes to penalty saves. Lloris, don't get me wrong, is good. I just don't think Lloris is really that guy. I just don't think Lloris is as good as 2018. And so that's why I'm putting Emi Martinez there. Then obviously for the right back position, I think this is between Jules Koundé and obviously Molina. I do think Jules Koundé, though, has been really, really good this entire tournament. I think he's been great for France at the right back position. And he's not even a natural right back. And the fact that he's doing a good job there is testament to how good he is. The left back for me is Theo Hernandez. This was a no-brainer. I just think that Theo Hernandez is so much better than Acuna and Tagliafico. I just think he is so good going forward. He brings that attacking ability. I do think defensively, though, he's a bit suspect. I don't think he's that great defensively. But attacking-wise, he is essential to this team. Now for the center backs, I think you have to start Varane. I think Varane has been really, really good for France. I think he's been an unsung hero. He's not really been talked about enough. I don't think Upamecano's really been that great. Konate's not really been a starter for them, so you can't really put Konate there. And yeah, I think Otamendi for me has been Argentina's best center back. I think he's been really, really good. Even though I do think Lissandra is better, I do think Otamendi's been really, really clutch with his tackles and interceptions, and he's done a great job as a defender. And then for the midfield, guys, this is where things get really tricky. For the CDM position, I decided to give it to Enzo Fernandez. For me, he's been more impressive than Tuchemi. Tuchemi, on the other hand, he's been really, really good. I think he's been good this tournament. I just think Enzo Fernandez has been better for me. Rabiot, you have to start in the midfield. He's been excellent for France in this entire World Cup. And then obviously I think Griezmann has to start. He's been great for France with his build-up play, his work rate defensively. He's amazing. He's just all over the pitch. And then obviously Mbappe, you have to put in the left wing. He's been phenomenal for France this World Cup. And then obviously Giroud up top. I think Giroud's come up clutch with his goals, especially the goal against England in particular. I do think Julian Alvarez has been a good shout. Obviously, I think both are tied, I think, on 4 goals each. But I do believe Giroud has been more influential than Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez is good, though. I really like Julian Alvarez, but I do think Giroud is slightly better. And then obviously, Messi has to start the right wing. There's no debate on that. So let's look at how many Argentine players and how many French players. So obviously, let's go look at the front three. So we got one. Let's do Argentine players first. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we got 4 Argentinian players, and we have 8 French players. So that's a lot of French players to have, man. A lot of French players. France do have the better squad in my opinion compared to Argentina, and that does explain why France to me are the favorites. I think France is the favorites for this World Cup final. And now let's talk about the prediction. This was a very difficult game to call. A very, very difficult game to call. And what it came down to me for this game is it came down for me and for this game is that who is, as I said earlier, the supporting cast I think is going to be very, very important for both teams, because I just feel like for Messi and Mbappe, I don't really think either of the two will be that amazing in this game. And especially Mbappe. As good as Mbappe has been in this World Cup, he's not really been that great in the last couple of games. He's really, really been good against obviously Poland and obviously against Australia and Denmark as well, of course. And I just think that for me, it's going to be interesting to see how Mbappe does. Now, keep in mind, Mbappe does have a really good record when it comes to playing against Messi. He has scored, I think, in every single meeting. And so he has a good record. I think he scored 6 goals in the last 3 games against Messi. That is pretty phenomenal, to say the least. And for Messi in particular, he's been amazing. He's been in scintillating form. His playmaking ability has been unmatched. And I think Messi knows that this is the chance. Like, can he finally do it? Because we know Messi is such a dangerous player. It's not even just goal-scoring wise. He can also play make as well, give those passes in the midfield, make passes that no one can even see. And even in that game against France in the last World Cup, Messi still provided 2 assists, despite how crap the Argentinian team were, especially defensively speaking. So I do think Argentina can get revenge here, and it's actually interesting because I actually did have this matchup taking place in my round of 16, my original World Cup bracket. I had Argentina to win that at the time, and which I'm going to go for this one. It's a very tricky call to make. So I made my decision. And let's go over what my prediction is. So let me show you guys my screen here. And I've decided to go with Argentina to win. I think Argentina is going to win this just because I feel like it's finally ready for them. Like, I feel like this is the chance Argentina can do it. And I've just been really, really impressed with Argentina this World Cup, especially mentality-wise. I just feel for France, they haven't had the mentality. They haven't had the mental. I haven't seen France be in a losing position in this World Cup and games that actually mattered. But I will say this, though. France have scored a lot of goals. I think they've scored the most goals this World Cup, and they haven't scored a single penalty. And they've always scored 2 goals in games that actually matter, whereas for Argentina, they've scored a lot of penalties. And obviously, a lot of the goal contributions have been through Messi. But I just feel as though Argentina just are going to do this. I think it's going to finish 1-1 after extra time. I think Argentina will open the scoring. I think it's going to come from Julian Alvarez. And I have a feeling France will just notch the equalizer out of nowhere. Something tells me we're gonna see a set piece be scored from them. I have a feeling it could potentially be Varane, and then I have a feeling this game is gonna go extra time. And I just have a feeling that off the bench, I could see maybe Lautaro Martinez or Di Maria coming up clutch off the bench to score the winner. And I just think that Argentina's gonna just do it. I just think Argentina they have to do this, And if there was a chance to do it, this is gonna be it. Because like I said, Messi, this is gonna be Messi's final World Cup game. And, and it's going to be interesting. So I want you guys to comment down below your predictions. Remember, guys, if you're new on here, considering that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. And comment down below, what do you guys think of this final? Because this will be an interesting final. There will be a match reaction to the game after the game. And there will be a preview tomorrow, live preview with any Argentina fans and any French fans that want to come on. If you want to come on, they will take place at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Just direct message me on either Twitter or Instagram or on Facebook. Basically on Discord. Basically anywhere. All my links will be in the description below. You guys can find them there. So I hope you guys would enjoy, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.